All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, December 17th, and this is our eighth Core Devs Biweekly meeting. Our agenda is somewhat compact today. We'll start by talking about FIP9, which we kind of expedited along the FIP process, and then we'll hear updates from the various teams and discuss anything else in whether that's FIPs or other issues that people want to raise. So jumping into FIP9, so this came about because there were concerns about the sustainability of submitting windowed posts during periods of high base fee. It was particularly affecting smaller miners, miners with somewhat limited financial resources, and just miners who didn't want to be paying that much to prove storage that they'd already committed to the network. It's easy to say that if the base fee is spiking, now is not a good time to onboard new storage, but you do still have to submit your window post messages. So the proposal, which is very simple and was discussed in the Phil Implementers channel, and we kind of already had this conversation and got buy-in, but to put it on the table, the proposal is simply to exempt window post messages, so the submit windowed post message in particular, from the network base fee burn. Sorry. So this way the cost of submitting your window post message is largely divorced from what the current base fee is. It still affects a little bit because any overestimation burn that you're charged will be tied to the base fee, but it should be orders of magnitude less. It just does not change chain throughput in any way, and is very much a stopgap solution that doesn't necessarily address the problem itself, but helps the network, especially as we were going into the holidays when there might be a lower or a longer turnaround time. So I was wondering if people had thoughts about this. I know some people here had basically proposed this already. Stephen, you in particular, had essentially proposed this a while ago. So how do people feel about this?
Okay. I would think that all the miners will welcome this kind of change, and the miners want to have more to do after the holiday, perhaps to actually improve the TPS. But this is the first step. It may not be able to improve the TPS, but it will protect the small miners and other miners actually in this holiday. I think it's really welcome currently.
Are there specific concerns that anyone had with the idea?
I had like a few. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So I mean, I just had like in terms of like all the technical stuff about this FIP. I think it's pretty. It's a pretty good idea, but I think it's important to I guess make it clear whether this is actually a stopgap solution, and if it is, then give like a better timeline so people know when to expect and adjust to things, or if this is a solution that's going to be built upon, and say so. Because like I've heard that this is a stopgap solution, but I've also heard that this is a first step to a bigger solution, and it's like kind of confusing and sends confusing messages. Yeah. So just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, thank you very much for flagging that. I think that you're right. So our hope right now is that this essentially becomes the first step in and the second step, the bigger piece of it, will be what we've been calling optimistic window posts. This is issue number 42 in the FIPS repo. The FIP itself hasn't been opened yet, I think. Once optimistic window post basically means we'll be taking the verification of window posts off chain, at which point the actual gas cost of submit window post itself will be significantly lowered. So that's kind of what we're hoping will be the longer term, and that's the actual solution that actually allows you to increase TPS. So that's what we're thinking right now. We're feeling pretty confident about optimistic window post, at least internally. it's looking good. We haven't no major red flags have been raised yet. So that's the timeline. That's what we're hoping will happen. And we'll talk about optimistic window post maybe a bit more later on in this call.
But I also want to say one thing, Eric, which is maybe if you feel like this, we should make it more explicit in our communication, because this is a stopgap, meaning it's unclear if this is going to stay as a final solution for long, because new solutions may supersede this. But there is an unlikely but possible scenario where fees are going to be higher than right now, but everyone is working higher than with this change. And so what I'm saying is that but the goal here is to make them lower than what they are today. So what I'm trying to tell you is that there may be in the future a solution where instead of costing 1,000th of a cent, it will cost one 1/100th or 1/150th. Or something like this. I don't want to give like exact numbers. What I'm trying to tell you is that this one may make it exceptionally cheap, and maybe it will not be exceptionally cheap for long. But the goal is whatever is going to come after this is going to it could be substituting this, but without making things drastically worse. That's so we don't want an expensive window post in the next upgrade, no matter what we do.
Yeah, Nikolai, I think the point about we can make it more explicit in our communications that this is at least partially a stopgap would be good. Other thoughts that people have about FIP9? Okay, sounds good. So also I wanted to quickly thank everyone here for kind of moving on FIP9 fairly quickly, kind of vetting it, thinking about it, and giving us a thumbs up on the idea. It allowed us to move at the pace that we needed. So with that, maybe we'll jump into updates from the teams. I can go first, given that our large update is around FIP9 as well. So we've prepared Lotus 130, which is the third post liftoff network upgrade. All it does is implement FIP9. So it's a really, really small change code-wise, and we feel like we feel confident that we've tested it and we're happy with it. The network is scheduled to upgrade on Monday, December 21st, or Tuesday, December 22nd, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, that's kind of the big update from Lotus that's relevant to this group. Apart from that, we're continuing to, as we discussed in the past couple meetings, our focus is just kind of on making Lotus better. So we're really just improving the performance, improving the UX of various aspects of Lotus. From the actor side, I'll quickly speak to that as well. A lot of the majority of their work has been on the optimistic window post idea. We've sketched out what an implementation will look like, and we've been continuing to kind of vet that internally. So we're hoping to introduce that in the first network upgrade in 2021, which will probably be late January, early February. And things are generally going well there. So cool. Let's hear from Stephen. Do you want to take us through your work?
Okay. Yeah, in last 2 weeks, we had done some things in plan. The first thing is that we had run VNAS in calibration network, and we're running one node in the calibration network, and we sync up all the and all along the chain, and and keep moving. So currently, the synchronization is very good, and but we're not start mining right now is because we're still working on the mining interface development and integration. All the interfaces are almost done, and there and only a few of them are still in progress. We expect that that could be done in a few days. And another thing is that we're working on the message pool implementation, including the message selection and also the prioritized addresses. And also the coding is done, but some testing is ongoing, and we still expect that will be done in a few days. And still we are facing some challenges. The first thing is that the chain synchronization is the performance is not so good. Currently, the Venus currently the block verification is kind of slow. Is much slower than Lotus. Sometimes it will take about 10 seconds or 8 seconds to verify a block. So it's very slow, and we think it's due to a few things. One thing is that actually Venus actually take about double of the the space utilization than the Lotus, and also the memory usage is not so good. So we need to optimize those, and we need to use some caching to make it better. That is one thing we need to do in next week. So we think it's kind of hard, but we have to do that. And based on, with this, and we also plan to do some other things. The one thing is that we need to complete the mining interfaces and also to integrate the mining post whip and post with the chain synchronization together, and so that we could have a miner and actually in the network. So the plan is that we will do it in calibration network first. The plan is to have that in 2 weeks. So let's do that. And some smaller things that we will also have to add some user-friendly CLI comments and to make it better to use. Okay, and I think that's all.
One quick question. How far along calibration net are you currently able to sync to? Are you getting to the top, or?
The calibration I think the chain synchronization is very good, and we are we already synchronized, and we are keep moving with it with top.
That's fantastic news. Nice. Cool. Maybe let's hear from someone from Soromitsu.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. So for the past 2 weeks, we've been working mainly on making the node sync, block sync work, chain sync, let's put it this way. It's the better name. So we have faced a couple of issues recently. So the first one, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on the previous meeting, was related to the Cademia DHT. We had an issues with it on our side as the other main maintainers for the P2P on C++. It was successfully resolved. Now DHT works as intended. But now we are facing a different issue, which is related to how blocks are served from the Lotus. I'm not sure I'm into all the details, so if anyone from the team wants to elaborate, feel free, but a little bit later. So currently we are working on resolving this issue. Basically, it blocks us from syncing with Lotus mainnet in a somewhat fast way. And I'm not sure we have a solution for it right now, but we are looking for it. First of all, we need to identify what is the problem exactly. So as for the miner work, we tested against the local testnet with the Lotus, with the big sectors, our own miner. It seems to be working just fine. So the next step will be to test against the mainnet. Yep. And as for our work on implementation of C++ actors, we have recently implemented reward actor, and as far as I remember, storage miner actor v2. So we are continuing working on that. Not a lot of hurry for this one, as we are trying to focus on the miner plus chain sync parts of the protocol.
Sounds good. Sounds like some great progress. Great. Yeah, let's hear from someone from ChainSafe. I don't know who wants to go.
Hey, so yeah, our main goal has been to work towards being like audit ready. That's sort of what we've been focusing on. And I mean, like, there's no point where we're really finished. So the real question is, where do you actually start this audit? And so our goal is to like basically have like 3 things working before we start auditing. And one is like interop with the original mainnet network version. And so there's like 2 parts to this. One is like being able to have upgradability for actors. So being able to call a different version of actors depending on the height. And that part is done now. And matching actors v2, which is in progress. We are almost done. Only the minor actor is left. So making great progress on that goal. The second part to getting audit ready is the storage miner integration. So we can now initialize the storage miner with a Forest daemon and start creating tip sets, which is awesome. And we're working on getting the full miner lifecycle to work. I think just before this call, Eric messaged saying that we were able to get a sector committed, which is awesome. So making great progress there. And then lastly, we want to be able to stay in sync with the local DevNet of Forest and Lotus nodes. And so the last step here before testing is basically getting the logic for switching the syncing state from chain sync to chain follow. And once that's done, then basically we'll test and see how it goes. So the goal is to wrap all of these things up by the early new year, hopefully, and then start thinking about an audit and then all the other things that need to happen after that. But that's sort of the thing that we're working towards right now.
Nice, fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like everything you listed towards getting as goals towards getting audit ready, you're pretty close to having done, which is great.
Yeah.
Cool. So Raul had to dip, but he left a little update on his work. So I'm just going to read that out for the benefit of the recording regarding test vectors. He says, you now have the ability to extract full tip sets from live chains or to extract a range of tip sets, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 9. The result can be saved as 1 tip set per vector or squashed into a multi-tip set vector, which is great. We can now play an extracted tip set against a candidate protocol version, such as Clause, where Clause is the version that implements FIP9 that we talked about earlier. And you can use state_diff to verify the differences in state. He's also adding a feature to execute a callback after applying every tip set in a vector, which allows you to capture things from the state that you might want to chart and analyze further. As an example, he's using this feature to save the balances of all actors at every tip set. This allows you to compare how the current protocol version applies gas pricing as compared with a new version like Clause. So this is a way to backtest a candidate fork against chain history, which is something we've wanted for a really long while. And he says it needs to be cleaned up a lot, but it's a good starting point and a good building block. So that's exciting for all of us, I think. Cool. Anyone else on the call who'd like to provide an update, whether from the other teams or from PL folks? Cool, sounds good. In that case, I think in terms of open FIPS, let's go take a quick look. So FIP 8 was opened somewhat recently. I don't think we've discussed this yet. Nicola, would you like to talk about FIP 8? Link. This is add minor batched sector pre-commit method. Nicola? Okay, I assume he's left us. Sorry, give me a second. Where did my issues go? There we are. Okay. Yeah. So the other thing that's kind of moving more quickly that we definitely want to get ready for our first network upgrade in January is the optimistic window post idea. This is something we've discussed somewhat extensively already in the implementers channel. I was wondering if anyone had any new thoughts or insight about the idea, because if not, I think we're pretty close to saying we want to do this and opening the FIP for it. Any new thoughts about it? Cool. Yeah, we discussed it 2 weeks ago as well. It's I think yeah, it's moving in the right direction. We've already got an implementation sketched out, so that's something we can look forward to in the new year, which I think will stack well with what was implemented, what will have been implemented in FIP 9 by then. So that'll be good to have. Cool. Is there anything else that people wanted to talk about? Any issues? Any questions?
Yeah, just one thing. Yeah, do we have a detailed plan for our next release? Yeah, for example, the FIP 8 or any others people could refer to, or a document or a project plan, something like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Short answer is no, unfortunately. We haven't, because we're kind of still scoping that out ourselves, but we haven't put that, we haven't displayed that publicly anywhere. I don't think we should. Right now, yeah, so maybe I'll make a note to create that and get input on that.
Yeah, I think maybe perhaps something something listed in priority. Yeah, that would be good for for people to refer to the so that maybe
definitely. I think
we don't have a solid plan, but we have a prioritize.
Yeah, I think we're kind of missing that right now. Yeah, I can quickly, for now, stuff that we intend to get into the next release is well, Actors v3, which includes FIP 7, which is the amped and hammed optimizations, and the optimistic window post changes. So those are kind of the two big pieces.
Okay, good.
But no, thanks for that. We should definitely have a place for the community to see that information. Cool. Any other points of discussion?
Yeah, I just have some questions actually, now that I think about it, with some of just like these FIPs in general and like these network upgrades, and in particular like the optimistic window post stuff.
Yeah.
Are there any efforts going on right now to do like simulations on different types of attacks? Because like, for example, there were some for the optimistic window post, there were some potential concerns. I think they're like addressed, but obviously not like formally or verifiably addressed. It's all in people's heads. I was just wondering if there's any plans to do some sort of simulations and testing.
Yeah, it's a good question. Nicola, are you here? He kind of leads all of our internal security checkings. But he's not. Yeah, so for the most part, I think we've kind of been thinking about these things and kind of theoretically sketching them out and seeing what attacks are feasible. There are a couple that we've agreed is maybe possible, but we're not too concerned about the impact of it. I don't know if we're planning on any simulations, but that is a good follow-up question. Yeah, Magic, do you know if we're planning on actually simulating any attacks? If you're here.
It's a very good question. Like there are a bunch of people looking at the theory behind it. I would imagine that at some point there will be some like simulation type like research also going into it, but I don't know exactly because yeah, I'm not that close to this effort.
Yep. Yeah, good to follow up on for sure. Other points of discussion. Cool, sounds good. Yeah, I think we can wrap up here. Thank you everyone for joining. I think yeah, we won't be meeting 2 weeks from now because it'll be in the holidays or right after. So talk to you at some point in 2021. It's been a great year. Thank you for all your work. A lot has happened. So look forward to what Q1 2021 will bring us. Cool. Bye everyone.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye. Happy
See y'all
holidays.
next year.
Happy holidays.
Bye bye.
You need